Oh. New version of the app. I got a new version of the app, so it took me a minute to find everything. What's up? You there? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Okay. There's a wave. It's a good old wave. I guess y'all can hear me. I'm going to let it tick up a little more. The floaty hearts. Don't get me started on those damn floaty hearts. I'm going to have to, wow. God, they're like coming in. I don't know what it is. I'm a sucker for the, excuse me. My nose is itching. I'm a sucker for the floaty hearts. I am a sucker for the floaty hearts. Doesn't seem like my camera work's gotten any better, even though I've been doing this for like a year now. But you know, we do the best we can. Okay. I'll wait just a little bit longer because I know that there's sometimes there's a little bit of a delay. I'm not going to wait too much longer. About another 30 seconds, maybe 60 seconds, and we can kill that time by, for those of you who are already here, we can kill that time with more of the floaty hearts that just sort of disappear into the ether along the right side of my screen. Sometimes you shake it up and you add some other little icons in there. Yeah, like little ones that sort of just, there's big ones and then there's little ones and they just kind of flutter off and disappear into the ether. Pretty interesting. Okay. Hope y'all are doing well. Been a couple of weeks. I guess it's been over a month and a half. I started doing these every other Wednesday at the same time instead of, excuse me, I don't know what the hell deals with my nose. It's just itching like crazy. I don't know what, anyway, yeah, I've been doing them every other week. Don't know if I'll go back to every week. It's a lot of work in addition to everything else that I'm doing. Okay, so let's just say we're stabilizing out now that I've been on for 120 seconds or so. Okay, a couple of quick announcements. First, I want to say thank you to everyone who's on my email list. If you're on my email list, thank you. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow during the interview that I'm going to do. And I emailed you the other day, and you have the Zoom link for that interview. So thank you for being on my email list. And you get to see all that other stuff that I don't always get a chance to talk about on social media. Thank you. See you tomorrow. And for those of you who are not on my email list, you should get on my email list. Click on the profile, click on the link in my profile, and sign up and subscribe. There's a black button on the contact page of my website. You can just click on the link in my profile and go there and sign up and subscribe. The other thing I wanted to mention is I have a brand new print. Can you see it? There's a new print of Written in Heat, Published at Once. The actual painting is about 100 inches vertical and 60 inches horizontal. It is a big painting. I think the print turned out great. They're limited edition signed prints. There aren't that many of them. Some of them are going very quickly. One of them has sold out. Not this one, but one of the other ones. It's all on the website. If you go to howardsherman.com and click on available prints. It's been a really interesting experiment. The ones that have sold have gone out all over the world. I've got one going off to Germany. Same collector bought a drawing a couple of weeks ago. It's wild sending things to Serbia and Germany and England and New Zealand and all sorts of places. It's really been great. So anyway, click on available prints and you can get that print. It's at howardsherman.com. Okay, so there are two things I wanted to talk about today. Part one and part two. The reason I'm doing a two-parter is because they're both important, but they're both brief. So I figured I could squeeze it in to one of these episodes, especially since I'm not really doing them as often as I was before. Anyway, I would like to hear from you, though. If these are helpful to you, please let me know and send me an email. All of them are up on my website. If you click on howardsherman.com, after you're done buying up all the prints on the available prints page, if you click on Live from the Studio, you can see all of these that I've done, or almost all of them, that I've done now for an entire year throughout the course of the pandemic. These videos are meant to have information that will help you, okay? So there's a whole array of them. Just go to Live from the Studio at howardsherman.com, www.howardsherman.com, and you can see all of these videos. And make sure you have a pen and paper handy when you're watching them, because I think in some of them you might want to take a few notes, okay? So feel free to go back and visit those. I'd love to get emails from you. Not really DMs, but I'd love to get some emails from you about them. And if you have any questions you want me to read and consider talking about on here, I will. In fact, in part 2 of this, it's going to relate a little bit to an email that I got during the course of the week. Okay? So, having said that, part 1, hopefully you have your pen and your paper handy. Okay? Now, this part 1 is pretty brief and simple, and it kind of piggybacks on a video that I did earlier in the pandemic. I don't remember exactly when I did it, but you can scroll back through on the Live from the Studio page and find it. I read my artist statement, and I talked about writing and how important writing is to everyone. Not just the visual artists on here who are watching this, but anyone watching this. I think any kind of writing is going to help you tremendously. The clearer you can write, the clearer you can think, and the clearer you can think, the clearer you can act. And I think all human beings, even visual artists, we think in language. And I think that that's a very important thing, and I've repeated it over and over again because I think it's really important. So the clearer you can write, it tells me the clearer you can think, and the clearer you can think, the clearer you can act. Whether you're an artist or a painter or a nuclear physicist or a pimp or whatever, be clear with your thinking. And if you're clear with your writing, you're clear with your thinking. And if you agree with me, let me know. Anyway, if you don't agree with me, let me know. So what I would like you to do is I'd like you to pick your favorite work of art. If you don't know what that is, if you have several that are in a tie, then pick one. Pick your favorite work of art. Ideally, you've seen it in person. In fact, I want you to have seen it in person. And it might have been a while, but if it stuck with you, it's probably your favorite or pretty damn close to your favorite. And you could probably Google an image of it, or maybe if it's your favorite, maybe you got a picture of it on your phone. But I would like for you to see it in person. And ideally, maybe you go see it in person again. Anyway, what I would like you to do is I would like you to pick that favorite work of art, and I would like you to write a statement about why you like it so much. I want you to be specific. I want you to be direct. I want you to be clear, and I want you to be to the point. Do not be vague. Saying things, I like it so much, period, doesn't count, okay? Be specific. Be as specific as possible. Being vague is your enemy, okay? But you still need to be very direct and clear and to the point. And don't worry about, don't worry too much about using art speak or sounding weird or odd or you're the authority. Excuse me, I'm reading from a few notes, so bear with me. You are the authority on what you like. You're the best authority on your own words. Use your own words, and remember the important things are hard to write about. So if this is important, that might be a good criteria. If it's hard to write about, if this favorite work is hard to write about, then that probably means it's really important, and you should write about it. And I think by you writing about it, in the way that I'm telling you, you're going to learn a lot more about yourself and in turn your own work. Okay. I want you to simply say what you mean, even if it makes you uncomfortable. So if you think it sounds stupid or lame or whatever, it doesn't matter. If it makes you uncomfortable, that's a good thing too. Say what you mean. I'll say it again. Be specific, very specific. Be direct. Be clear and to the point. Don't be generic and don't be boring. Okay? I'm sure you won't be boring, but be very direct and specific. Okay. After you've written this statement, what I want you to do is show it to somebody else and let them read it, and also let them read it without interrupting them. Tell them what you're giving them to read, okay? I think you should write it with a pen and paper. I don't think you should write it on your phone or on Word or I don't even think you should sit in front of your laptop and write it. I think you should write it with a pen and paper. And then if you need to scan it or digitize it or whatever afterwards, that's great. But write it with a pen and paper. And I think that it's going to, the feel of that, especially if you're a visual artist, the feel of writing it with a pen and paper, even if you don't normally write it with a pen and paper, is, I think it's going to be very profound. I write with a pen and paper sometimes, and sometimes I don't. Depends on what I'm working on. I go back and forth. I got my notes here with a pen and paper because I need to be able to walk around the studio and hold my phone with one hand and the pen and paper with the other. Okay? I think it's really important for you to do that exercise. If you do that exercise, after you've completed that exercise, I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear from you after you've completed that exercise and tell me what you thought about it. Okay? So in summation about that, pick your favorite work of art, and I want you to write about it. A statement is definitely not 2 or 3 sentences. It's more than that. Maybe it's a whole page. Maybe the goal should be close to 100 words. In fact, I think 100 words might be really a good goalpost. It should be several paragraphs, okay? 100 words is probably a good idea. Similar to an artist statement. Make it, okay? Anyway, that is that about that. And I'll tell you something else. I want to remind y'all of something. Anything that I've ever said on here the whole year about anything and everything, what I talk about, I don't just spout off pontificating all the time. In fact, everything I talk about on here is stuff that I do myself. It's about action. It's not about words, which is going to lead to the next thing. I am constantly, daily, in written correspondence with a small group of peers, a small group of friends who are other artists, or two of them are, actually sometimes it's 3 of them are other artists, and then one of them is just a very, well, I guess he's kind of an artist too, but he's just a very savvy art enthusiast. And we're constantly going back and forth, writing about images, writing about artwork that we've seen. Sometimes it's not our favorite. Sometimes it's stuff we've seen in person. Sometimes it's just JPEGs and website links that we're clicking back and forth. And it is a rich source of improvement to the way that I'm thinking. And if it's improving the way that I'm thinking, it's improving the way that I'm acting. So I'm not just telling you to do something that I haven't done myself, or that I'm not doing on a daily basis with all kinds of work, not just my favorite. The reason I suggest your favorite is because I think it'll make it easier for you to jump in because you're already enthusiastic about it. Hopefully that what I just said made sense. Does it make sense? In the comments, say yes, no, maybe. I'll try and read back. I'll try and read back through them. Okay. And here's part 2. Part 2 relates a little bit to an email I got yesterday, which actually coincidentally related a little bit to a podcast thing that I was listening to. I'm not going to read the email, but the email was a pretty generic email about how you recover from rejection when you get rejection from whomever it might be, a gallerist or a submission or a whatever it might be. And I'm not going to get into that. What I'd rather talk about instead of rejection is I'd rather talk very briefly about resilience. And I'm just going to read a few of the notes that I wrote down here. Okay, one of them would be, first of all, The bottom line is I'm about to tell you things that you already know, but sometimes, and this includes myself, you need to hear things said a certain way, sometimes by certain people at a certain point in the day or the year or your life, to where they're really going to sink in here. Other times it's going to go in one ear and out the other. And I know that I got a big demographic on here that skews a bit younger. And so I'm keeping that in mind as I tell you what I'm about to tell you. But I hope you fucking listen, because it's important and I think it'll help you. Again, it's important and I think it'll help you, and I am here to help you. So, rejection/resilience, part 2. Get over your insecurities and face your fears. You have to do the work. It's that simple. There's no way around it. It's much easier not to work than it is to do the work. The work is going to solve your problems, but it's harder to do than anything else. You're going to have to get off this phone and go do the fucking work. It's that simple. You know this. You know this already. You're not going to sit around fretting over rejections and your fears and all that stuff if you're busy working. You're going to be getting on with it. Everyone needs a moment to bounce back, but the people who are resilient, the people who build resilience, they bounce back quicker and more consistently than the people who sit around fretting over their rejections, and which is really, tied into being paralyzed by that's tied into some sort of a fear. But I'm not a professional therapist or anything like that, so I can't really get into all that. But I know that that's what it's all about. I think what's interesting is, especially right now, is during this pandemic, I've had several discussions with a couple different friends who aren't artists, but they're more business professional types. And it's interesting, they're in bad. One of them lost a job, the other one's had businesses suffer. And what I've realized is as hard as this pandemic's been for everyone, actually in some ways, I think if you're an artist specifically, this is parts geared towards the artist, you maybe haven't had it as bad as everyone else, because everyone else, I'm assuming you're an artist, like a professional artist, or maybe you're not making a living off your work, but it's all about your work, right? And I think that, other people aren't used to having to be by themselves and grapple with tough problems, like what they're going to, wrench out of their bowels onto the page or onto the canvas, or how they're going to make money, or hopefully someone's going to buy this thing that they created. They're used to more comfort and stability and consistency in a way that I think a lot of the artists I certainly know are not. So in that context, the pandemic's been a bit easier on us. I'm not saying it's been easy. Opportunities have been canceled. The loneliness is profound. I'm speaking about myself there in a way that it normally wasn't before, because there was a set schedule of in the studio, outside external activities in the environment that went away. But and those external activities in the environment involved other people. But having said all that, I think that there's a lot of people out there that are just sort of special little snowflakes and hothouse flowers, and very comfortable. And a lot of y'all, maybe some of y'all were given a trophy just for showing up, and you're best friends with your parents, and all of these things that don't help your work. I mean, they don't. And I use your parents being your best friends as an example, because I think that good creative ideas, it may not necessarily just be your parents, but the people ahead of you, the people a generation above you, maybe the more creative ones even, you should be trying to come up with ideas that topple what came before you, not just regurgitate what came before you, okay? And that requires a lot of hard work and a lot of thought and a lot of grit. And there's a lot of people who sit around waiting for someone to come along and roll out the red carpet and knock on their door and offer them up all kinds of opportunities. And that's just not how the world works, okay? You don't get a trophy for showing up in the real world. Maybe in the world you came from, but that's not going to get you anywhere. And, if you're patted on the back and you're told you're fine the way you are, and everything's and you're enough and all this other total bullshit. It's bullshit. The world's hard. You got to be really, like I said earlier, you got to be ready to work, and you got to be ready to work hard, or you're not gonna proceed forward. You're not gonna be successful. You're not gonna win. So you've got to do the hard work. I come back around to it. You've got to want it, and you more specifically, and I should end on this, but I'm going to say it now. You've got to want it more than you fear it. I posted about this a while back. Do you want it more than you fear it? You have to be persistent. You have to be obstinate. You have to be determined. And if you don't have that kind of drive and you're not willing to do those things that I just mentioned, then you should probably quit. It's that simple. You're not going to get there without the hard work. And things are hard out there all the time for all kinds of people. And that never changes, you know? That never changes. No matter who you are. So if you're ready to work, you're ready to do it, you're ready to show up day in and day out, and you've got that kind of grit and persistence, good things will happen. If you're spend all day on your phone just listening to me yammer, you're in for a long, hard ride. And you may not even think it's hard because everyone around you is telling you you're okay just the way you are, but that's not how the real world is. And that is it for me today. Again, you got to want it more than you fear it. Do you want it more than you fear it? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to wrap it up because I've gone a little longer than I'd like to. But I'll scroll really, really quickly through here and see if there's one or two quick things that I can get to. And there may not be. Was any of this helpful for you today? I hope so. Tell me what you think. Very so beautiful. Well, I do my best, you know, drink a lot of water. Try and take care of myself. Oh, you're probably talking about the artwork, not me. Okay. Anyone? I don't know if I told Chanel Krauser _art. Maybe I did. I don't think I said don't be a pondering idiot. I probably said something like that, but I probably didn't say pondering idiot. I actually think that sometimes pondering could be a good thing. Journaling is huge. Bob Fryer art, I agree with you. Be impeccable with your words. Renee _. Really quickly, I'm hesitant to say the word impeccable. I think you should just get it all out on paper. And impeccable will come with revision. Just get it all out. I can't share everyone's response, gel.creative. There's too many responses. Someone I actually know on here, Bob Ack Ojai. What do so many lame artists like Jonas Woods become famous? I don't really know. I'll tell you, I can, as we both know, there, in the context of that work, there's other people that would be really interesting to look at too. Leslie Alan, thank you for the comment. Oh, there's a lot on here. Wow. I'm going to have to go though, cause it's getting a little, I don't like these to go too long. There are several really good comments. The fall quicker you get the failure. Renee. Wow, a lot of smack talking for you. No accolades necessary, just cashola. PayPal that person. Send him $1. Okay. It's hard out here for a pimp. Casey _Matthews _artist. Word. Okay. A lot of I'm glad this was helpful. It seems like I'm getting some comments that say this was helpful. Okay, so I'll tell you what I'll do. If I get some good thoughts regarding that exercise on writing 100 words or so on your favorite work, yeah, if I get some good feedback on that, we will do. I guess I can try and figure out a way to share it on here, or I'll see how that goes. I'll see what kind of comments I get. You know, take that assignment seriously, people, and send them to me, and maybe I'll share them on here. I don't know if the best thing for you to do is to email them to me. That might be best. Send me an email with those, and maybe we can share them on here. Okay? I don't know if it's a good idea to share them on an Instagram Live or not. If someone has a good idea on how to share those emails, obviously you're going to want to see the image of your favorite artwork too. So we need to maybe it's the kind of thing you put on your own Instagram profile and I tag you. Is that the way to do it? I don't know. I've been getting by off my chiseled features and rugged good looks for way too long. I need to leave that heavy duty thinking up to y'all. You let me know what you're thinking. I'm taking off, all right? I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.